Well, hello and welcome to Material Mondays, and today we are going to be looking at this piece. This is an incomplete piece, and there's lots to it, so we're going to be looking at all the bits that make up this and do some work on it. But before we do, I want to just look at the last piece I did. So this was the one that I did last week, and since last week I brought it to a close. And so what you will note, or may note, if you look at the last video, I've done some additional stitching along this figure's body, her clothes, and also then worked on the bird as well, just to define it. I've kind of gone round the edges to define it, and just define other areas around their body, just like where you would have shadow as well. So just putting in a darker thread here, but then also going in and adding additional stitching. And it's just been a nice piece that I can, well, I don't know whether if sometimes you really I really like just doing like small stitches, almost like, like grains of rice kind of thing. So what else I did the trousers, so we've got some stitching on the trousers, and then I went in and did some black stitching there. And I've still got my thread and needle in there. What else? Yeah, on her body, some more stitching. And then around the sun as well, I went in with yellow embroidery thread, and then went in again in spaces with the black. So I'm feeling that this is complete. So it's 9 by 9. 9 inches by 9, and I've called it Rest a While. And this is a piece that I see being framed. I will put it up on my Etsy, I think, either Etsy or my website. But you can purchase this unframed. I'm not going to frame it. I will show it in a frame. I've still got to go to the frame shop and look at some drop frames. I think these pieces look nice, will look really good in either a drop frame, box frame, or perspex. So there's a place here that does perspex frames, so that would also be a nice thing. But if you are purchasing it, then it will just it will come to you on a card, matted card, and then it can be placed in a frame. But I really enjoyed doing this piece and all the stitches to it, and the colours. I like the colours. And then you've got just a lot of detail on there. Okay, so we are going to start a new piece now. So as I said, I think at the start of Material Mondays, I have a lot of unfinished fabric pieces that I have done quite a bit of work on, and then you just get distracted. So let's take a look at this piece and what's going on. There's quite a lot of detail already, and I think I was coming to a kind of place where I wanted to, add some beading, which I've done here, and some larger beads, and then I've got some lace as well that I've found. It's like vintage lace. So let's see what it's made up from going down. So we've got a ribbon piece here, and then this central piece was painted fabric. It's got painted fabric, it's got Sea Island cotton, so I've got Sea Island cotton here that I've spun myself. We've got a lot of, you know, just decorative stitching in several different colours. Then we've got some ribbon here. These flowers are ribbon. And so what I did as well was decide on what I wanted to put on it, taking out, actually I might take this out because I've just noticed that. So I did the basic part of the piece. I've just seen this bit, so I might have to do this and skip a bit there. And that's what's good about coming back and working on a piece. Anyway, so, and then I attach them together. The other thing it's on is I had some sari material, and so it had a lot of this detail, so I really liked it, so I've attached it here. It's attached onto a piece of sari material, and then I went in and added some French knots all around here, and then added additional pieces that still need to be stitched on. We've got some jeans material here, and I just made some little patches. And then these are, what is it? It's, you know those, what's that thing called? They're like brads basically, but there came a point where, you know, people were decorating their clothing with it. So I found the colours that kind of went and decorated this piece. And is it a zazzler? Bedazzled? Something like that. And then we've got some nice beads that have been attached with a wire. And again, I've just gone in and done load of stitching. This was a really nice piece that I really have been enjoying working on. And it's coming to its final, and then I left it. So I also had some decorative pieces here, and I've cut them out, and these need to be stitched. I've started on this bit. So these I've got French knots, and then we've got the detail down here, which you may not see with that there. So I'll have to decide if I want this to be here. I've already attached the middle section, and I was doing French knots, but the French knots were kind of disappearing inside this leaf bit. So, and then right at the bottom here I've got some ribbon, which now I've added these stitches, it still needs to be attached, but I can take these pins out. And maybe take out, I've got a few pins that, oh that's my needle, okay, so wherever there's pins that don't necessarily need to be on because it's partly attached, I can remove. And decide whether I want to keep that there or yeah, I think I'm just going to keep that there and have that bit showing through. So I was looking to see, I haven't got any thread this colour. So we'll look at some of the things that I want to do. So I want to cut this here, so let's do some of those things now. I'm not sure I'm going to get any stitching in. It's just kind of, you look at your piece, well this is how I work. I would look at my piece and think about some of the things that I might want to do to it. Now I've come back to it, so I know I definitely I want this to be visible. So I need to cut it at a spot that is going to, actually wrong scissors. Yeah, I need to, yeah, cut it at a spot where it's just going to, cut it in the right spot basically. So I'm thinking, and they're so delicate, so you just have to be careful. So I have to use this, we're expecting a tropical wave to approach the island, so we're apparently going to get between 1 and 3 inches of rain, which around the island can bring a lot of flooding. So we have to be prepared. We're going into the hurricane season here, and yeah, it's one of those things that you always have to be prepared for. Okay, so, and then I'm going to put, I should come out a bit, put it on this white thing so you can see the contrast. Oops, that's going in. Let's come out a bit and we'll see what's going on up here. So again, I want this, let me pin this. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so we have to be prepared. So with a piece like this, I had to step away because I think I was becoming quite overwhelmed with its direction. Actually, I need to cut some bits off here to make it round. Well, not even the direction, it was just like I don't think I didn't know where to take it. And sometimes you just need to maybe, yeah, just step back and then come back to it another time. And so that's been useful for me, because when I looked at it I thought, oh, I want to do this. I just love the colours and the combination of colours. So we're going to pin that there. Maybe just put it up a bit. Okay. And yeah, I got excited about seeing it finished, whereas a lot of the time there's this, sometimes there can be this feeling that you don't want to finish because you don't want to, it's like that expectation as to how you're going to feel about it when it's finished. And so if you just leave it unfinished, you don't have to face that, which is weird anyway. So I'm just noticing that I've got a space down here that could do with some ribbon, and so I'm going to cut this. So that I can put the rest down there. But yeah, so you really have to experiment, and then, you know, you'll do a piece. Like if I had said to myself, if I had set out to do a piece like this, I would never have done it. I would not have known where to start. But because I work on small bits at a time, so I just literally had this bit. I had dyed the fabric, and then I've kind of brought pieces together, as you can see, and then tried things out. And then I had brought a sari at a thrift shop because of the beading. There was some beautiful beading, and it was just like I either use it as a whole or remove the beads and reuse them. So, and I think this fits perfectly just there. So they're going to be stitched on. So what I'm going to do is look at some other areas and see what potentially needs to be done. So on this piece I've used a variety of different stitches, and I thought I could share some with you. They're just straight stitches, but when you create a pattern, it can look quite effective. So this one here is like a line. It's like that. And then we've got a line and a line. So what I did initially with this stitch up here is I went along and did a straight stitch, then I went and staggered it like so, and then I went in the opposite direction. So some places I would do one stitch like that, and then say the next one I would do 2 stitches. So let's slightly come in a bit, and then you can actually see the detail of that. Because that's the other thing, it's when you do a combination of stitches, you can get a really nice effect. And even this section here, it's done similarly, but then I went in, and where there was additional space I might have, say, done additional, just some little stitches. Like so, and then that one would have been. So it gives you a fuller kind of feel. A lot of us know the French knots, and I thought this worked in terms of contrast along here. And then here we've just got a simple staggered way with the stitches, and I haven't filled it in until I get further down. So you can experiment with different types of embroidery threads, and sometimes, like even on this section here, we've got the same stitch, it's just this, you know, straight stitch, but what I've done is, rather than stagger it, I've made them parallel to each other. And that gives you a whole different feel. And then I've come down and staggered the purple thread. I really enjoyed adding the cotton from my garden. I had noticed that I had cotton growing in the garden. I hadn't realised for about a few months. I was seeing all this fluffy white thing floating around, and then I realised, oh my gosh, I've got a plant here. And so I've got a drop spindle and I spun it. I can only do a small, I don't have enough to make a garment from it, but I thought it would be nice to add it in here. Sea Island cotton, it's so beautiful. Barbados Sea Island cotton. So I've used it here as kind of like a focal point, and then I brought it down here. If I had some more, I think I do have some more, I would maybe do another row, but I'm not sure. I think I haven't given, there would need to be more space for me to add that. Okay, and the other thing is bringing different types of material together. So we've got jeans material here, and I've just got some small pieces of jeans material, and I've tried to pick up the colour. It's not exact, but a blue, but I've been consistent with it around, you know, the piece, just adding bits of it here and there, and then I've gone into darker blues as I've come down to these bits. It's quite a bit more of a contrast on there, and I've gone into my stash and used a variety of different ribbons. So I think it's important for you to just check out different places. Like, you know, yes, you can go to the haberdashery and the fabric store, but sometimes in these thrift stores you find that they're fabric as well, ribbon. You also may, you know, look at some decorative clothing. So I got the sari from the thrift store. Mine's called, it was Oxfam in the UK. But so I found, you know, bits that I could use, and I really like this mustard colour, and I think what I would like to do is pick up that colour in the thread, and then also just thinking about it now with this central piece here, whilst I've started using the black, I think I'm going to remove that, and that's what we'll do now. I remove that. I think it's too much of a contrast. I want more of a natural colour in there, so we're gonna have to, you know, if you don't like something, then you just change it. And I haven't gone that far where, you know, oh my gosh, it's such a large piece to take out. Like if I had decided, oh, I don't like that, that would be, I don't think I would be making that decision now. But so I'm going to remove this, and I don't really have to do it all now, but sometimes you make this, you know, when you come back, you think to yourself, actually, no, it's not working. So what I want to try and do is find a colour, this colour, or as close as, and I'm going to go around and pick up some colour, put it in other places. These have got to be attached. The ribbon has to be attached as well. I could bring in some additional beading. At the moment we've got some clear beads along here. And there, so it goes all the way here. We've got pink here and a kind of pinky colour here. So I might bring in this colour beading in a few spots. At the bottom here, so I'm going to remove this and find a thread that's close to this. It's more kind of gold. I'll have to see what I've got. And maybe this can maybe move downwards. I'm not sure. I think I want to expose this area. Okay, so be on the lookout for if you're kind of getting into stitching and, you know, sewings, small art pieces. This measures 9 inches by 12, and again this will more likely be one that I would put in a frame. and that would protect the fabric as well. And where I've dyed it, it will protect the colour. So these pieces you can't really, you know, allow to be exposed to a lot of light. But be on the lookout for elements where you can, you know, use them. And I'll just show you some of the ribbons that, you know, potentially can go in, well, can go in any project. So I went to a haberdasheries and they had a sale bin, and this ribbon was there. And I picked up this as well, and I use it in small amounts. So I thought I had that as well. But I got a curtain. I think it was a curtain. Yeah, it's a piece of a curtain. And I've got some more here. So I think this was on an item of clothing, and I just thought, you know, I'm going to use this in something. I'm not sure what yet. It's not going to be this piece, but I had to separate it. And then so this is from a curtain, and then I've cut them out. So you can prepare bits for yourself, looking at different, you know, materials, different fabrics. Let me show you the sari material. So again, just be on the lookout. So this was a top I think I've dismantled, but look at all the beads. It's amazing. So I'd started to try and identify where I can, like some of the larger beads I would separate. So I would just take my time and cut it. I would try and be careful because I may be able to salvage the material that they're stitched on. But if you look at the detail, the amount of detail that goes into these pieces, it's amazing. I've got some other fabric here, which this was, I think I got from my local charity store, but this was a cushion cover, and it's got, you know, so much detail that you could potentially, if you wanted to add that to some of your projects, you could do it. These are panels, and you've got all this detail on each panel. So when you're trying to take them apart, you have to be careful, like we've got here. So I could then add elements of this into different projects, and then we've got the thread here. I'm not sure how strong this is. The test would be how strong each strand is, but there's loads of ways in which you can add a lot of different types of detail on your projects. I mean, even look at this. We've got this part here, and we've got these larger kind of pearl beads. So I need to, that's another activity I need to do. So I'll put these here because they're really quite nice. They would go really nicely in a project. And just even looking at the way that they have been added, there's the pearl bead, and then you've got 2 seed beads. But even on the body here, you've got all these tiny beads. This would have taken months to do. This is just amazing craftsmanship. So actually, I'm going to keep those out and that out. But yeah, these pieces are just really beautiful. And as you can see, what I've used is just a section. I cut this whole piece out. So this is almost like doing this. I've cut a panel out and added my bits, and then you've got the stitches here. But I even like that. Let me see this way. Yeah, maybe even adding some beading down here. But and then I've gone in and added some additional pieces. But I'm going to, for next time, what I'm going to be doing is, hopefully I would have attached these pieces, and we're going to come back and do some additional stitching. It's not going to be a 4-week project like the, you know, 3-week project. I think it'd probably take me a couple of weeks to you know, do all the additional stitching down here. I want to add some more. We've got brown here and dark blue, so we need some more dark blue on this side, and yeah, some additional things going on here. I want to move that, so I want to move it down. We might not get the whole of this with this bit here, so what I might do is take this off, move it down, and put it back on top here. We'll see if there's enough space, because I want that to be sat there like so. And then I've got this, let's come in, so I've got these really tiny, if you're going to be able to see it, see all the detail, all the pink stitching that went in here. I think it looks really effective with, we've got some seed beads here. The it's kind of like an amber seed bead here, and then this detail. But if I go up like that, you get a good idea as to all the detail that's gone into this piece as we put it together. Okay, so I wanted to introduce you to this piece this week, and when we come back next time on Material Mondays, I'll be sharing some stitching with you, and maybe the addition of the beads, the way I would attach the beads to the end, to the bottom here. Okay, so I hope that's inspired you to maybe look at some of your pieces, or maybe look at some material that you might want to use some of the elements from it, some of the beading, you know, and even these bits here. Look, there's like tiny little bits of wire that will be really effective in a fabric piece. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm glad I finished the other piece. So we've got a couple of pieces, kind of like, well, there's more than a couple of pieces, but since I've been sharing some of the projects I've been working on, and it's great to be able to, you know, see something then take shape and be finally finished. And yeah, I'm glad you're on this journey with me. So take care for now, and I will see you again very soon.